I lost my virginity to someone who I thought looked like Linda Cardellini.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bimbo Book Club.
That is Bert, and I'm Katie.
And we're thrilled to be back
We're
doing
so
another
thrilled.
episode.
I know I'm so excited. We had so much fun last week. I'm like, what's in store?
What's in store? Something completely different. Okay, how has your week been? 2 weeks since we saw each other.
It's been fine. Nothing too
Yeah.
exciting. When we're recording this, Valentine's Day was last week. Valentine's Day did get a little rained out on my end, I will say.
Same.
It was a little rainy. And also the restaurant we were gonna go to did have an exclusive Valentine's Day menu that we did not feel like paying for. So we ended up canceling that and going to P.F. Chang's. I don't know if you've ever
W
heard of it.
She hits. She never. I always forget how hard
She
PF Chang's
hits.
hits, and then I get PF Chang's. I'm like,
She
PF Chang
hits.
hits.
How's your week been?
It's been uneventful. I was like, I need to make notes of things I want to tell Katie on the podcast, and then realized how boring my life is because
Yeah,
nothing came up. For Valentine's Day, I went to dinner with my best friend's family. Um,
beautiful.
my best friend was not there. It was just me and her sister and her parents.
Was she on a Valentine's Day date like with like a person?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
She had
Cheers.
a she had a date and the reservation was already for 4 people. And I was like, well, I mean, if you guys were already planning on taking 4 people,
Might as well
I'll
take
just
four
go. And it
people.
was in Pasadena and I was already in LA. So I was like, I'll just do
Just
a
pop over.
pop over, do a little dinner with y'all. It was great. So
Love
that's
it.
like the most exciting thing that happened. And it's raining. We also got rained out aggressively. On my way out to LA, I almost turned around because it was people think Southern Californian bitches are weak about the rain. And the thing is, we are also. We don't ever see it. But when it hits really hard. It was also the perfect weather for a spooky, scary movie.
It
Um,
was.
how was that transition? How was that segue?
That was perfect. And I would have to agree. This was quite spooky and quite scary. And I'm very excited to hear what you have to say.
Yes. Okay, so this week we're gonna be jumping into Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, which is did it come out in 2000 or 1997?
It was 1998.
1998. Fuck. Okay.
Because I was thinking when I was on the home screen on Max and it was, just like
Yeah.
saying like what it's about and stuff, I was like, wow, this is gonna be crazy because I am the only one of us that was born when this came out.
Shut the fuck up.
I was
And
1 whole year old, so I certainly was watching it.
me when 9/11 comes up. Literally.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Oh, yeah, I was there. Meanwhile, I knew nothing about what was going on.
I don't know if we're talking about Scooby-Doo or 9/11.
Both.
Both. And that's what we're really gonna get down to the bone on here this week.
Hmm.
So I picked Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. We watch it on Max. I think that's where most like Cartoon Network, Warner Brothers stuff is set to stay for a while, so you probably should be good to find it there. But I wanted to start out with something that like really kind of hones my taste in media. And two things about me, I'm a slut for nostalgia, and I love children's movies is too broad of a term, but
Hmm.
in this vein, I do love it. If you were to ask me to do like my letterbox top four or whatever, there's no doubt that the Lorax and Lemonade Mouth, like both like kids
Oh,
movies, would
yeah,
be on there.
definitely.
But and you would have to talk me out of putting this one on there. I would have to find two more that like aren't terrible that are like Inception or whatever, just to make myself sound edgier. But I love these movies, so I picked this one. It was what I grew up on. It is, in my opinion, the best. It's my favorite Scooby-Doo movie out of all of them ever made. So we're gonna really dive in. But before we get into it, what was your Scooby-Doo exposure before this?
Great question. So I actually have not seen a lot of the cartoons. I was a strictly live action Scooby-Doo girl.
Okay.
Um, I think my very first exposure to the live action Scooby-Doo was we were in class and someone brought it in, and we were about 2 minutes in. And as you probably heard us talk about in the last episode, I'm from a very small conservative Christian town. And our teacher was like, "What is this rated?" And we were like, "PG." And she was like, "We're not allowed to watch this." And she yanked it out of the VHS player, and we were not allowed to watch it.
Okay.
But I later watched it on my own time, and I loved it. I was obsessed with it. Probably did make me gay because of Linda Cardellini, which we will definitely talk about in later episodes.
Ooh,
But
I love her.
that was really my only exposure. I mean, I think I've seen a few of the cartoons, but
Okay.
like I what like nothing was coming up when I was watching it. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen this. Like the animation style felt very foreign to me, and
Hmm.
like the way they were all speaking, I was like, this does not feel familiar at all. So I don't think I've ever seen a cartoon, to be honest. I think
Ever.
I've never seen a cartoon. Um, but I do love the characters and I do love the live action
Okay.
versions.
I love that because I was raised on the flip side. Anytime there was
Okay.
anything remotely live action, my mother was like, "We can't watch that. It's inappropriate." The
Right.
live action adaptation of Mr. Popper's Penguins, starring Jim Carrey, could
Mm,
not see. Live action Grinch, could not see. Anything that was live action was apparently too edgy for me. And my childhood best friend was like obsessed,
hmm
to put it mildly, with Scooby
hmm
Doo. This is the one I remember watching the most with him, but any from this era, we were also watching kind of the older ones. Scooby Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf, Ghoul School, Boo Brothers. Like those are
I
those
love
are
the
those are
titles.
deep cuts.
I
Those are
love the
from kind of a
titles.
weird era.
Boo Brothers.
Boo Brothers, they're in it for like 15 minutes and they're the title of it and it's like barely about them. This is the one that I remember watching the most. And it also is the one, so I'm sure you know if you walked past like a Walmart $5 DVD bin in the past like 20 years, there have been many Scooby-Doo movies, like animated Scooby-Doo movies.
hmm
This was like kind of the first one. They had done a few before that, but it had been like 12, 15 years, I think, since the last one really came out. There were a few in between, but we don't talk about Arabian Nights. It's just Shaggy and Scooby being like, we have to appease this some character. And
Yeah.
then they tell two different stories about like Magilla Gorilla is one of them. And the other one is something like it's not a Scooby-Doo movie. They're just
Yeah.
like telling stories about other Warner Brothers. So
Yeah. Okay.
but this was the start, and then at the same time, What's New Scooby Doo was on, which was like the kind of one that I feel like was our age. And then I tapped out around the time Mystery Incorporated came out, because I thought it looked lame and cheesy.
Mm,
We'll get into Mystery Incorporated later. It is
okay.
a phenomenal full narrative show. You can't watch it out of order. Like every episode, they're learning stuff.
Damn.
It's a long mystery. It's
hmm
really good. It's one of my favorite Velmas, which I'm gonna have to ask you to rein me in when Velma comes up. As anyone who's followed me on social media for any amount of time knows, I'm obsessed with Velma. I love, love, love Velma. So she has her own spot in here. We're gonna hold some space for Velma. But that is my exposure to Scooby-Doo. So I was on the opposite of like only having the cartoons, and then I
hmm
loved the old ones, like the originals.
When did those come out?
Sometime in the 70s, mid 70s, late 70s, I
Okay.
want to say.
Okay. So it like is authentically 70s.
Oh, very much so.
Oh, okay. See,
Yeah.
I thought that was like just a thing. Like I didn't
Mm-mm.
realize like the Mystery Machine was like for reals.
Yeah, yeah. When it came out, like it wasn't gay to wear an ascot, so Fred wore an ascot.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. I
So,
see. Cool.
yeah. So overall, kind of a recap of this movie is basically, the gang reunites after some years apart and goes to an island trying to find a real haunting. And it is in New Orleans, Louisiana, making way for some captivating voice acting. I don't necessarily want to say phenomenal voice acting, but very
It was surely
captivating.
something.
It was they were speaking,
They were speaking for sure and in an accent, perhaps.
accents were present.
Mm-hmm.
So and they basically went upon this island. They are encountering zombies of pirates and Confederates. We will get back to the Confederates. I'm not brushing past that. And tourists and other people, and they are trying to figure out what's going on. There's mystery
Hmm.
afoot, as there usually is
There
in
is
these
mystery
Scooby-Doo
afoot.
movies.
There is
Um,
mystery afoot.
okay, beautiful. And I have some go-to rules before I tune into a
Okay.
Scooby-Doo project that I think
Okay.
helps set the tone. One, I think any of the clues they give you are bullshit except for like maybe one or two. Like if you pay attention to the
Okay.
clues, you can figure it out. Maybe I'm stupid. I've never figured it out. Like I've never been like it's this
I didn't know I
person.
was supposed to.
Yeah.
Well, I was letting them do it.
It's their job.
It's their job, not mine. I wasn't even thinking about solving it. I was just like, let me see what happens.
Yeah. If someone came behind the counter at my place of work and started doing my job, I'd be pissed. So,
Exactly. So I just let them go ahead and do it.
and then my second rule is Scooby will always be annoying. You're never gonna find a Scooby-Doo project where
Yeah.
Scooby's not annoying. There's a bit in this movie where anytime they talk about Scooby being a dog, he goes, "Rug? Where?" and looks around for a dog. They do that about three times in this movie, and I'm not kidding,
Hmm.
about three times in every other movie that follows. I don't know
Yeah, I
what is so
didn't like
funny about
him.
that joke. You're never gonna like Scooby. Save for a few, Pup Named Scooby Doo, Scooby's pretty good, but like in most Scooby Doo stuff, he's just annoying.
Yeah, he was really annoying. I have a quick question that I'm just going to insert really
Yes,
fast.
please.
Um, why is it called Scooby-Doo? Like what is it just a cute name or like because I don't feel like he's the central character at all.
No, I think he's the quirkiest.
Okay,
Like the talking dog
that's
is what
fair.
makes it different.
Gotcha. Okay, no,
Um,
that's totally fair. I just thought I'd ask because I was like, wait, he's not really like the ringleader. He's not like solving the crimes. He's
he's not
barely
doing
doing
shit.
anything,
Yeah.
which we'll get to. I have some notes about. We'll get to that. But
Beautiful.
um I do have some notes on Scooby's performance as a detective. Not very good at it. But continue because I just wanted to ask because
Yeah,
I didn't know if
no,
that was a thing.
no one knows why
Okay.
he's there.
Okay.
Um,
Fair.
but he is there and he talks. I think like again at the time you had like Yogi Bear, Magilla Gorilla, Bugs Bunny, stuff like I think they were just like named after like the animal that talks. For having the franchise named after him, he's the one character you could remove and pretty much everything would stay the same.
I think it would actually probably get better and easier for them.
Yeah, you would think. And then they make the show Velma that doesn't have Scooby-Doo in it, and it's garbage.
Oh, well,
Do you hear? Are you up to speed on the Velma show at all?
I don't think so.
Oh my God. Okay, they made a modern, gritty, animated Velma. I have some problems with it. None of it is with the race bending, the race swapping they did of the characters. It is just a terrible like interpretation of
Yeah.
everything, and like the story's kind of lame and the writing's really terrible. And I watched it and I wanted to root for it, and it sucked. And
Oh,
it
that
doesn't have
sucks.
Scooby Doo in it, and so I was kind of like, oh, let's see what they do. It's just the four of
Mm-hmm.
them. No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Noted.
noted. Do you want to do overall impressions now, or do you want to hold that for the end?
Well, I guess I'll just generally say like
Yeah,
I thought it was good. I thought it was
yeah.
cute. I thought it was like solid. There was a story and it's cute. And like
There was a story.
sometimes I'll admit, sometimes with animation, I have a hard time grasping any of it.
Hmm.
I don't know why. I do it with period pieces, with animation, and anything that is like or dirt, sand,
Hmm.
or space sometimes. When it's those things, sometimes I like literally cannot, like my brain doesn't
Fair.
compute it and I
Hmm.
can't explain it. Like I could not watch Pride and Prejudice if I tried. But this one was easy. It was an easy watch.
It's easy. It's an hour and 15 minutes. It's nothing
Yeah,
crazy.
it's easy. It's cute. It's fun. I kind of wish I would have watched it as a kid. And maybe I did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember it, but
There's so much
it's
Scooby-Doo
cute.
stuff that we watched as a kid. No, felt. That I will say on the note of it being animation, the animation in this movie is beautifully stunning. Like the backgrounds and stuff
Hmm.
of like New Orleans and the island and everything. I love it is a different animation style even for
Yeah.
the Scooby-Doo animated franchise. I don't know how I feel about it as a whole, but anyway, I
No, it was
feel
cool.
that
I liked it.
yeah, I feel the thing on period pieces though, and war movies and stuff like that. Nothing.
It
Nothing
goes
going
over
in,
my head.
nothing coming out. Yeah.
Mm-mm. I don't
I
know. I can't do it. People keep saying, watch Dune, watch Dune, watch Dune. I can't. I
no.
literally can't.
No. Tried to watch Dune, turned it off on the scene where the woman had her hand in a box. Which is something I've never turned off before.
Nope.
But I don't have that issue with animation, but I do have it with every other bit that you listed. But anyway, that opening chase takes us into Daphne retelling stories of the glory days on a talk show, and basically reveals that the gang has split up since their
Mhm.
big chase scene that we just saw. Yes,
That was one of my big questions. I said, wait, where are we in the timeline? Why are they split up? Is that something that you would know if you saw more, or is that simply just the exposition?
just the exposition.
Of
Um,
course.
the timeline is very loosey-goosey throughout them. Basically, it's like they probably did these things before, but you don't never is like anything really
Okay,
consequential in that sense.
gotcha.
I do really like how they handled it in this, but basically she says like in the talk show, she's like, we split up because all of the monsters turned out to be just like dudes in masks, and we are tired of like
Hmm.
there being no real mysteries. But what I really like about it is that they like there's no like we don't talk about what happened since
Yeah,
old
there's no
Mr. Worcestershire
animosity.
or whatever. Like there's no shade and falling out. They just like grew apart, and then there's no like secret. I feel like this was
Yeah,
essentially a reboot at the time, right? And I feel like now when reboots, it's always like when they come together, there's some tension or whatever. No, they just were like doing their
yeah,
thing with their friends from high school, basically, and
yeah.
then reconnected for a journey, which
Hmm.
I love. I
They
also
needed
love
a girls' trip. They needed a girls' trip.
they needed a girls' trip to famous location, haunted locations, that
Hmm.
they want to make famous. But I also love in these stories where it's like implied that they're like moderately famous child detectives. Like that's like an
Hmm.
industry that you can break into because the same thing happens in the live action. They get like their own museum
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever. And I just love the bit where it's like they're famous detectives who
yeah.
are high school students essentially.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliant. We bring back suspension of disbelief.
Seriously.
Stop trying to ground me.
Like, where is Nancy Drew? You know?
Exactly. Yeah, we have yet to get a project of hers in since the Emma Roberts movie that isn't like a nitty-gritty
Yeah.
adaptation,
No, but
but
it's really fierce.
it is fierce. So they reunite because they want to basically Daphne has a TV show. She wants to find haunted locations and find a real haunting. She's tired of the people and ghosts. And Fred, who's like maybe her boyfriend. I have some thoughts on their relationship as
Yeah,
well.
I literally wrote that down. Are Fred and Daphne together? Guessing no.
Yeah, but
Because
like
he makes a comment later that I was like, I don't think they would do that. I don't think they'd be like, well, they're together, but we'll get there.
yes. We if we're
I'm
talking
jumping the
about the
gun.
same comment, Fred is a little not great at parts in this movie. I have such mixed
Yeah.
feelings on him, but we will get into character
Yeah, 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 yeah,
breakdowns
yeah.
as a whole.
And he's got a little bit of a dad bod in this one, which,
I
the
will
heck.
never not be attracted to Fred. I'll put that out there. There won't be a
Okay.
character on that screen minus Scooby Doo that I won't be attracted to.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, in this quest to find a new haunting to basically popularize for the TV show, they go to New Orleans, and they meet some people. Should we? I guess we never define the members of the gang. I feel like that everyone knows. Do we need
Oh,
to?
yeah. Yeah. Y'all know.
I'm just
It's,
gonna list them because
wait,
they
let me
shake
see if
them
I can
up.
do it.
Do it.
It's Daphne, Fred, Scooby. Wait, I thought that Velma.
There she is.
Oh, wait. The whole time I wrote down that Fred is the stoner one. Wait, what's
That's
his name?
that's Shaggy.
Shaggy. Oh my God. Hold on,
Ah.
let me update my notes really fast. Shaggy. Okay. So
Okay.
there they are.
There they are. Yes. They swap them out sometimes. There was a brief period where like Fred and Velma didn't exist, and then Scrappy Doo came in. We don't talk about Scrappy Doo.
Wait, Scrappy Doo's the little baby dog.
Yes, and
I know about him. Yeah.
everyone hates him.
Oh.
Do not
Well, I
hate.
just think he's cute as a button.
Well, that's why That's why he's the bad guy in the first Scooby-Doo. Spoiler alerts warning for the live action Scooby-Doo. That's why Scrappy-Doo's the bad guy.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're
Yeah,
right. Okay,
because
yeah.
everyone found him so annoying.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But he was kind of like one of the early pioneers of the let me at him, let me at him, like
Mm-hmm.
why
Mm-hmm.
I wanna that kind of guy.
God, I love that.
Yeah, so we have a lot to thank to him, but we don't talk about him now.
Okay, we don't have to talk about
This
him.
is a scrappy free movie.
Okay.
So here they meet some characters that are gonna matter later. Lena, she's like a pretty, I don't know what her job is, but like
Yeah, I
property,
don't know. She almost is like kind of like a housekeeper, but like not really.
but also like
She's like a
personal
personal
assistant.
assistant. Yeah.
Yeah. To Simone, who like owns this beautiful island off the coast, off the coast, in the bayou of Louisiana. I don't know the full geography of New Orleans. You got to take a boat to get there though, and they call it an
Hmm.
island. So there, and then that boat
Across
is
the swamp.
cross the swamp. They got to drain that swamp and then cross it.
Hmm.
And then we have Jacques who drives the ferry. These three will matter later, but right now, who I really want to talk about, one of the shining moments of this movie is Snakebite Scruggs and his pet warthog Mojo, Hunting Pig Mojo.
Hmm. I did really, really, really like the hunting pig. I
Yeah,
just wrote down hunting pig.
yeah, she's fierce. Do you know who voices Snakebite Scruggs? I don't know if you looked anything up while you watched this. Do you know who the
No.
fucking Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker,
Oh my
voices
God.
Snakebite Scruggs? Who his only point
I
in the
had no
movie,
idea.
yeah, his only point in the movie is to be like the obvious suspect or
Yeah.
whatever. He does nothing. He serves nothing to the plot. He's trying to catch a catfish named Big Mona, who's also a certified baddie with
Yeah.
Mojo. But
But he's got a hunting pig.
he's got a hunting pig. But he serves no purpose. I'm thrilled that he's there. Here comes Mark Hamill.
Hmm. Hmm.
I just
I
love.
like that.
Yeah, it's just a random bit. He's a phenomenal voice actor. He does most of the Joker in animated stuff as well. He does the
I think
Joker's
I did
voice.
know that. I think I
Yeah,
did know that. I really like him.
I really like him too. Did you watch Fall of the? Oh God. Okay, Fall of the Fall of the House of Usher.
No, but I want to. It's on my list. I
Yes.
need to watch it.
I butchered the title, but I love that. It's same as Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor,
Because
Midnight Mass.
it's based on an Edgar Allan Poe
It's based on like
short
all of his
story.
works, kind of. All of Mike
Oh,
Flanagan's
okay.
stuff is based on most of it, except for Midnight Mass and Hush, are based on like compilations of literature.
Okay, Fierce.
Yeah.
No, I need to watch it. It's like literally been on my list for 2 years.
Final character we meet is Bo the Angry Gardener, who
Hmm.
immediately just has like a queen off with Velma and love it. Any overwhelming thoughts to share on these new characters that we have met? Any notable first impressions?
Yeah, I did write down as soon as wait, what was her name? Lena?
Yes,
Okay, as soon as she came on the screen, I literally wrote down loving this bitch's voice and vibe. She's hot as hell.
she
She
is.
really is. She's gorgeous. The voice acting incredible. Once again, was it accurate? I don't really think so, but
No.
I loved it.
Mhm.
And that's all I have to say about that. The bitch who has the house, I mean, she was fierce too, but
Mhm.
there's just something about that bitch, Lena.
Lena, yes.
Okay, sorry, I keep
No,
forgetting.
you're all good. I had to look up their name. I love this movie and I had to look up their
I
names.
keep forgetting what her name is, but Lena's a great name, except
It
for
is.
in the context of Lena Dunham. But
I literally what I was about to say.
I just loved her vibe. I thought she was super cool, and I just really admire her. She is more so how I imagine Velma.
Okay.
Can I say something? This is not about a new character that we met, but it was the first thing I wrote down as soon as I started.
Yes.
And that is that. And I do not want to shame her. If she was a real person, I wouldn't say this, but
Mhm.
she was drawn. So I feel like I can say this. Um, and I think it's because I'm so used to seeing Linda Cardellini in my mind as Velma, like
Mhm.
she is Velma to me.
Mhm.
When Velma came on the screen, I literally put, forgot how low key uggo she was. Do you disagree?
I so disagree. I don't think you get her.
Really?
I don't think you get the Velma gag. I don't think
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it because I don't know. There's something about, and I know it's a cartoon. Once again, this is why I can't watch animation. I can't watch animation because I was like, why does this bitch have three freckles in the same spot under her goddamn glasses? This ugly bitch.
That's fair. What I will say about Velma is she, like everyone else has gotten updates to their outfit except for kind of Shaggy, but he wears green shirts and,
Yeah.
brown pants. Who really cares? Sometimes he wears a red shirt. Ooh.
Hmm.
Velma has not gotten a costume update since the original, and I think that would
Yeah.
serve her very well too.
But I love her costume. I think her costume is perfect.
So it's just the face is the
It's just
problem?
the face.
Okay.
In my mind, I see Miss Linda Cardellini
Wait,
and
yeah.
Linda Cardellini only. I am a lesbian. Let's get that clear. Let's get that straight. I am not. But I am not gay in the sense that I just find all women attractive. I am usually into butches.
Mm-hmm.
We all
Mm-hmm.
know this about me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm femme for butch
Mm-hmm.
most of the day, all the day.
Mm-hmm.
However, Linda Cardellini as Velma can absolutely get it.
Linda Cardellini is in my top three Velmas, but I fear she might be three. Um,
That's okay. We can have different opinions. I just
truly.
I just thought I just thought we didn't.
I love Linda Tortellini. Velma is the character they've tried to change the least about while changing drastically the type of person who plays her. And
Yeah.
so they have gotten her wrong many a times. And
Hmm.
I think with this one, they just went ahead and they were like, let's not touch her. It's the reboot. Let's
She was
just
pretty basic. Oh, yeah, yeah,
plug
yeah.
her in as is. So I get it. But
And
I
maybe I'll
am
get canceled
shocked
for
by
that.
that.
Maybe I'll get canceled for saying that I think that Velma
No.
is an uggo, but I just do.
No, I think I'm in the minority here. I am obsessed with Velma. For a bit of context, Katie knows this about me. I was blocked by my college on Twitter for tweeting very explicit things about Velma
Hmm.
from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
And not that that is my heart, but I was being watched by my school at the time, and I was putting that up just to make them check my feed and see these things. And I think that really is what cemented her as an important figure in my life. I have a little, like, we're
That's valid.
not this desk, but my work desk. I have a little mini Velma figurine that sits on my desk and gives me strength.
Hmm.
So I'm definitely like big on, I have a frame picture of her in my kitchen. I love Velma. I will never not love Velma. Oh shit. Linda Cardellini might be my fourth favorite Velma. Sorry, she might have. That's a whole other thing. I'm so sorry. Oh, we've lost her. We've lost her.
Fuck you.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. No, it's okay.
I
I
forgot
need to
about a
work on
pup
this.
named
I need to work on
Scooby-Doo.
being okay when my friends have differing opinion than me.
No, but Linda, we've always agreed on Linda. So I think this is
We
fine.
have, I think it's just like formative for our friendship.
Yes, we've always agreed on Linda Tortellini, and we've never deviated, and I think this is a big one. This is what I mean. Fucking I asked about new characters, you said the word Velma, and
I
I
know I opened up a
drove
can of
us off the
worms.
trail. So we have met some beautiful new people.
Yes.
And we learned some lore about Zombie Island. And basically anything that has ever happened remotely in the South has occurred on this island, is what
Yeah.
it comes down to. It was a outpost in the Civil War. They don't really say for who, but I think once we get to the end, there's some reveals, and I do have thoughts on it.
Hmm.
And we'll get into it when that comes up. But I can't watch movies without like diving deep into things that don't necessarily need explanations. The things that don't necessarily require explanation, I dove deep into the confederacy of it all. And I think I have some answers that may make us happy.
Okay, that's
And
good.
we will see. We will see. Um anyway, so there has been Civil War encounters on the island. It's a kids movie. That's about all you're going to get. They don't go really in detail into anything.
Right.
Um, but the big kicker is there was a pirate. His name was Morgan Moonscar, and he buried a treasure somewhere on the island, bringing pirates aplenty to search for it. But
Hmm.
maybe it was never found. To date, there's no record of it being found.
Uh-oh.
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 And then at this point, Velma also levitates,
Mm-hmm.
which is a pretty big deal because she's a skeptic. She's the one who's always calling it out. And there's no, Fred the whole time is like calling out the bluffs, what it could be. And it's hard to rule that one out. It's hard to rule
Mm-hmm.
out the levitation. We don't see wires, we don't see anything. The animation does make it look like Daphne gets a glimpse up Velma's skirt, but that is simply up for us to decide. And then when rewatching the footage, they see a ghost of a pirate. Because, oh, also someone carved Get Out on the wall, and it was a ghost pirate,
Mm-hmm.
allegedly. Um, Total side note. There's not a side note related to the movie, but not in my summary. When they're rewinding the footage to see it, about 5 times over, they play Daphne going, "Cut! Who opened a window?" And that is such a formative sound to my child. Like I hear that specific soundbite, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm like 8 years old in my friend's attic watching this movie right
Yeah.
now." I don't know why, but that was like it
That's
came
very
on,
cute.
and my ears perked up. I will say, I
Mm-hmm.
was not locked into this movie, probably because I watched it 3 weeks ago. But every time
Just
that
naturally
happens,
on your own.
oh yeah, yeah, it was.
Okay.
I
Okay.
hadn't even thought about doing it for the podcast or anything. I literally
I
just was
love that.
like, I'm gonna watch Scooby Doo on Zombie Island.
I
And
love that.
anytime that happens, it's like a dog whistle. I'm like looking around. Rock bear, stupidest fucking bit.
That stupid ass dog.
Yeah, also Scooby can't get along with the cats on the island, which I have beef with because when they're leaving the shop on like mainland New Orleans when they meet Lena,
Yeah.
when they're getting on the boat, she goes like, "Oh, I didn't know you had a dog. She keeps a lot of cats." And they all go, "Scooby's fine with cats."
Yeah.
Scooby's not fine with cats. Scooby tears apart the cat house, chasing them every time he sees them, which is
Mm-hmm.
bad dog ownership. I hate to critique
No, it
such
is.
institutions and such heroes. That is shitty dog ownership.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. That came to me while I was watching it, and I was like, that's such an adult annoyance that I did not have watching this movie for the first time. And also, Shaggy and
Ugh.
Scooby are always running from the horrors anyway. So be like, hey, you guys get the night off. We're gonna go stay at this haunted house.
Right. I have some, once again, like I said, I do have some notes about that.
Of them never doing their job.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, okay, then basically the rest of the movie is just them getting chased around the island by different creatures.
Yeah.
Shaggy and Scooby eventually get fucking exiled after about 7 attempts. The Miss Simone, the owner of the
Thank
house, is
God.
like, "Okay, you can't be around cats. Go sleep in the van," and then makes them a full dinner to eat in the van. Not what she's required to do. And while they are out there, they get chased by zombies, which does give us one of the hardest songs. Scooby Doo movies always have one song that goes incredibly hard. In this case, it is Terror Time Again. Fuck, I forgot to write down who wrote it. It's not on Spotify. Again, I looked it up about 3 weeks ago before I even had the idea of doing this episode. You only get a bunch of shitty covers from people in their garages. Um, but it does go incredibly hard. Very like, who would you equate it with? Like it's mine is like all time low sleeping with sirens, that era of music, but I feel like it was the kind of early 2000s, late 90s
Yeah.
version of that. I don't
Like
even know
kind of
who that would
grungy.
be. Yeah, I like wasn't even around. I like wasn't born, so
You weren't
I
born.
don't even know like the historical figures about who was a big deal then.
No, no. And I was
No.
barely born. I was like
Yeah,
fresh. I was literally fresh out of the oven, like just sitting there trying to cool off, you know?
right. Barely thinking about the grunge scene at all.
I was barely thinking about the grunge scene, which is really problematic, I will say. And, I
Hmm.
have learned, I've listened and I've learned. And at 1 year old, I should have been thinking about the grunge scene more, I will
Yeah.
say.
But yeah, it's about probably a good 20 minutes of just like different chase scenes and different clues being revealed. But as I've said, I don't think the clues really matter that much. The only note that I have is Velma absolutely eating up Bo the Angry Gardener. And this is what I live
Mm-hmm.
for Velma. She's always sassy and sarcastic, but sometimes it's like little
Mm-hmm.
bits and pieces. And there's a real deep hole that Scooby and Shaggy fall in, and they find a body in there, and it's the pirate Moon Scar, and the ghost comes, and all the zombies rise and chase them. And the gardener is like, "Oh, you fell in the hole I was digging to plant stuff tomorrow." And Velma looks at him and goes, "What are you planting? Elephants?" She occasionally eats him up.
Sassy little bitch. I love her.
Yeah, she also punches the lights out of him, and I live for that.
That was really fierce.
Yeah, but that's kind of all of note from when they get chased. Obviously they lose the camera recording everything because oh no. But then we get a reveal. And the
Hmm.
reveal is that unlike everything else they have encountered, this is real. Um, and for some reason, kind of needless, I would say, Simone, Lena, and Jacques are ancient cat creatures.
Hmm.
According to the Wikipedia, they are identified as werecats
Uh-huh.
um, that have to kill someone every harvest moon to maintain their mortality.
Hmm.
They killed the pirates, they killed the Confederates, they killed the
Hmm.
soldiers, they have killed everyone. And they have voodoo dolls. That's how they were making people
Hmm.
levitate. They have voodoo dolls.
Yes.
Um, but the gang is able to basically outlast them until the harvest moon is over, and then they like children movie die. Off the tails of that reveal, did you? I know you are remotely unfamiliar. Were you shocked by it being something real? Did you think there was someone behind it? Or when did you, if you caught on, when did you catch on?
Hmm. Um, well, I think what answers that question the best is I stopped writing notes after I wrote this note because then I was just watching it and I kind
Hmm.
of just forgot and I was just like in it. But the very last note I wrote was this bitch might be sneaky.
Talking about
I think
Simone?
Lena,
Okay,
but
okay,
maybe
word.
both. I don't really remember. I just put this bitch might be sneaky. And then I stopped writing notes. So I did catch on. I may not have
Yes.
like been there with the clues. I may not have like really figured it out myself, but I did say, hold up.
Hold up.
This bitch, she might be
Be
sneaky.
sneaky. I love that.
But I wasn't like fully confident. She
No.
might be sneaky. I wasn't like fully confident. But
Yeah.
I was a little shocked because I know I'm not that familiar with Scooby-Doo, but it did come back to me that it usually is or always is
Hmm.
somebody in a mask.
Yes. That is what we've come to expect. And that is what the movies do differently. For a
Hmm.
lot of the movies around that era, specifically the two direct sequels, which is Ghost and Alien Invaders, there's like a supernatural element to both of them.
Yeah,
So randomly for whatever, in this version they chose to make it real. And I love that they just went like balls out with it. Like I
they
love that it
did.
wasn't like there's something spooky. I love that it was like also we're cats.
Yeah. And they weren't just like, because I was expecting them to be zombies or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, cat people.
Yeah,
So
that
it was like kind of like, it was sort of a twist. And there was literally every creature imaginable in this hour and 17-minute film.
truly.
Every creature from pirate, no, pirates aren't creatures, but
To Confederates. Oh
both of
no.
those things, super fictional.
Super. Up there with the dinosaurs. The other bit that we get with this plot twist is that the zombies are good. They're basically trying to warn
Yeah.
them to escape the island and not get sacrificed.
Hmm.
But
And have you ever
obviously,
seen a good zombie?
no.
I
But
don't
I
think I have.
guess
Wasn't warm bodies, weren't they kind of nice? I
I
don't really
was I
remember.
do not recall. I missed the train on warm bodies, but I believe she
I,
fell in love with the zombie, so there had to be
yeah,
something
so
good
he might
about
have been
him.
nice. So there's only been about one nice zombie.
Yes.
So that was like also a twist.
Yeah, groundbreaking for the genre, I should say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the final big twist, because this always happens in the Scooby-Doo movies, Bo the Angry Gardener is secretly an undercover cop, who is
Yeah.
a perfect match for Velma, who is now a lesbian in modern Scooby-Doo canon, thank God. But
Wait,
at
they
the time,
like actually fully made her a
yeah, in
lesbian?
the most
Okay,
recent one,
thank God.
I don't think she dates one, but she has a thing with one. Like she has a crush and she like talks about the
By
crush.
one, do you mean a woman?
By one of the creatures that was in this film. Yes, a woman. Um,
Okay.
I remember being shook. This movie terrified me. The scene where the voodoo dolls roll too close to the fire and everyone starts melting, that
Mm-hmm.
image haunted me a wee bit as a
I'm
kid.
sure. I loved the scene where Shaggy, I had put Fred, but I do know now it is Shaggy,
Yes.
where Shaggy and Scooby have the voodoo dolls and they don't actually know what they're doing. And all of them are just floating in the air. I know, maybe not a perfect representation of voodoo.
No.
However, it was cute. It was very fun.
Yes.
To have all of them flying, sort of, and then Velma, of course, punching the gardener, being like, "Oh, whoops, I can't
Whoops.
control it."
Yeah, she wanted to do that.
She
She
wanted to do it so bad.
she had the one in the chamber. Okay, I do want to get like summaries. If you have any additional thoughts, I want to hear your notes. Sounds
Yeah.
like you have quite a
Yeah.
few. I was so excited to show you this because you're a film girly.
Yeah.
I've been in the industry, done the thing, Angela Bassett, um was active on Letterboxd. I think this movie is very good. I think this
Mhm.
is a top tier movie, but my qualifiers for that are like fun. Like, did I
Yeah.
have fun? And so maybe someone with a more critical eye, I would
Yeah.
love to get your thoughts. What really stood out to you?
hmm Now, I'll be honest, I didn't watch this with the most critical eye.
You're joking.
If you can believe, I did not sit down and watch Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island with the most critical film lens. However, what I was saying at the beginning, for a kids movie, I feel like it does have structure and like surprises and twists in a way that wasn't just like, "Bah, here's this thing, bah, here's this thing," like keeping kids like engaged. It sort of Scooby-Doo to me feels a little more elevated.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
I'll need to go and watch the other ones. The fact that they're mysteries too. I know this
Mm-hmm.
isn't for like small kids. Like this isn't like Paw Patrol age kids. Like this is
No.
like older kids. But I feel like it's a little more engaging and a little more like yeah, I should have been paying attention and like trying to solve the mystery. Like I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, but I should have. And I think that a kid could do that and that would be really entertaining and exciting and a little bit more fun than just like it's like grown up, not grown up. It's like older kid Dora, like in a sense.
Yes. Can I, and I know I just asked for your thoughts, but can I interject with something really quick?
Absolutely.
I recently watched a video essay on YouTube about the evolution of the family movie and how
hmm
now a family movie is like a kids movie. Like now
Yeah.
a family movie is like a movie that you take your kids to
Yeah.
or you put on the TV while you are like making dinner or
hmm
something. But a family movie back then, when there weren't as many and it was a little bit trickier to get your hands on to like watch at home and stuff,
hmm
was a movie for the family, was a movie for everyone. So it wasn't geared at just kids. I think this is,
Yeah.
yeah, this is a kids movie if you had to label it, but it's interesting. I think the growth of like family movie just into like take this for your kids or like put it
Yeah.
on to numb the minds of your kids. And I think this really kind of captures the family part because yeah, there are some parts that are like intriguing. Clearly, after
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
bitch might be sneaky, you clearly kind of locked in.
Kids are little adults. Like they need, well, like duh, but like they need the same brain stimulation that we do.
Yes.
And like no one gives that to them,
No.
obviously. And I think that's why like they do give that to them when you're watching something like Dora, when you're like trying to teach kids when they're watching Miss Rachel or whatever her
Right.
name is. Like those kinds of things don't exist a ton for like middle-aged kids. And I feel like this is a really cool way to fill that kind of void for them.
I also just want to know your beef with Scooby Doo because I really would love to unpack that.
It's like not, I mean, yeah, it is beef with Scooby-Doo. I didn't like him and I thought he was dumb and I wanted him to leave. I thought he brought the rest of the group down. I was like, do we really need him? Do we really need Shaggy? I mean,
Oh,
I didn't like Shaggy either. That okay, here. We'll go.
okay.
We'll go. Okay.
Go. Take
So
us on a ride.
I already said Velma, ugly. But that's okay. But that is okay. I'm not trying to get
Hmm.
canceled here. Yeah, I'm gay for her. Yep. Okay, I already said where are we in the timeline? You already explained that to me.
Yes.
Loving this bitch and her vibe. Already did that. I already kind of mentioned our Fred and Daphne together.
Ooh.
Guessing
Can
no. Can we elaborate on that one? Because we didn't get to fully elaborate on that one.
yes.
Okay.
What I want to know the moment you're talking about, and then I'll share my moments.
Okay, well, here's what I'll say. I, from the very start, like the first scene they were in, I was like, oh, okay, we're in the future. They're together. They have a life together. They are
Mm-hmm.
established together. Maybe they have a
Mm-hmm.
couple kids. I don't know. I
Cute.
mean, they don't, but that was kind of the vibe I was getting. Like, they're both very successful professionals, and they're very successful separately, but they're also very successful together. I was
Yes.
getting power couple. I was getting power bottom, perhaps, from him. But then when he was talking about how pretty Lena was,
Mm-hmm.
how well she would show up on the camera, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, so they're probably not together. And I just thought
Yeah.
maybe I was missing something because I thought, oh, we're supposed to just all know that they're together. But then
Yeah.
that tripped me up. And I was like, I don't think, not that you can't find another person
Right.
attractive when you're in a relationship with someone, but they're not going to do that on a kid's program.
Right.
So
Right.
that
Well,
made me think, no.
I agree with you fully on these
Okay.
because, yeah, I think if you can't be honest with your partner about being attracted to other people, then you're lying and figure it out.
Yeah.
But I think that the way it was brought up, to me, that felt coupley. To me, that felt like Fred is an
Mm-hmm.
asshole and Daphne's
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, don't talk about that. But then Daphne later is talking about the gardener and she's like, he sure is mean, but he sure is cute or something like that. And Fred gets all butthurt. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Fred, you shut up because
You already did this to
20
her.
minutes ago you were like, lighten up. I meant she's pretty for the
Mm-hmm.
camera. So I also don't think they're together. I think there's a lot of baggage there. And I would
I
love
think
to
there is a lot
unpack
of
that
baggage there.
with them. I
So now I'm
do.
almost leaning towards like they had a thing, they were solid, they still work together because they
Mhm.
they do work really well together, but it didn't work out romantically. Maybe
Yeah.
that's where they're at now and it's behind them, but like they still get really jealous. They still,
Yeah.
those people, I'm sure you've had these people in your life too. Like those people who aren't a couple anymore, but they still act like it because they were a couple. And I'm not even
Yes.
thinking of anyone specific in my life, I don't think,
I
but
am.
there's like a dynamic of people who are in a relationship for a long time and then they're
Mhm.
not in a relationship. And it's just, I feel like there is someone in my life like that, but I genuinely can't
Yeah.
think of who it is right now. Um, Maybe it's that sort of vibe. Like they're so comfortable with each other and
Yeah.
they're so in it, but they're not together anymore. And so it's like a
Right.
little awkward, but then yeah, they mention someone else being attractive and they're like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I'll check you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's been some time since the breakup and they worked together, so they like had to re-enter friendship, but those feelings still boil up. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
maybe okay. I want to talk about Mr. Incorporated, another Scooby-Doo show at a different time, but one of the things I love is
Mm-hmm.
that Fred and Daphne are a couple in that show,
Mm-hmm.
but Daphne
So it
cannot.
has happened
Yes.
before.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
if they're ever going to pair them up, it's going to be Velma and Shaggy and Fred and Daphne.
Okay.
Fred and Daphne much more consistently than
Mm-hmm.
Velma and Shaggy is rare, but they are together, but Daphne is competing the whole episode because she feels like Fred, the only thing Fred loves more than her is traps. Like he's hyper
Mm-hmm.
fixated on his special interest is
Mm-hmm.
traps, and he like can't stop. He gets like magazines that are like nets monthly. It's a
Mm-hmm.
hysterical bit, but she like can never like reach where the level of importance that she needs, and he can never give that to
Yeah.
her. And
Yeah.
so I could see it as being
Okay.
like that split them up, but like all of the affection is still there. It's
The
been
love
long
is still
enough.
there.
Yeah, it's been long enough that they like have a healthy
Mm-hmm.
working relationship, but then once like romantic prospects come up to either one of
It's
yeah.
dicey.
It's giving
Yeah.
long-term relationship that didn't do no contact before becoming friends is what it's really
Yeah.
giving.
Yeah. Also, I just remembered while you were saying that, I was racking my brain so hard to figure out who I was thinking of in my personal life,
Yes.
and it was myself and my first girlfriend.
That's where my brain went, but I wasn't gonna say it when I said I do. That's what I was talking about. But I wasn't.
I literally was like, wait, who am I thinking of?
Who could this
Who the
be?
fuck am I thinking of? It was literally me and redacted.
Beautiful. What other beautiful musings do you have to share with
Okay, let's
us?
see. Oh, this is one I haven't even brought up yet. And it is I'm just going to read exactly what I wrote.
Please.
I truly forgot the direct implication that I put Fred. Okay, wait. I forgot to change that one to Shaggy. I was like, who's F? Okay.
That's faggot. The sixth. That's Scrappy Doo. Let me at him. Let me at him. But he's wearing like the latex gloves with Crisco oil on them.
Yep. Yep. Okay, I truly forgot the direct implication that Shaggy and Scooby are high. Okay, what I meant by that is I know that that's the joke. It is so obvious.
Mhm.
And that's another thing that I meant when I said, like, oh, this is authentically 70s. Like, I thought it was like a joke about, oh, everyone in the 70s was high and
Yeah.
riding mystery vans. I didn't know it was actually of the 70s. So that is good to know. But yeah, I think I just forgot that it was so obvious that they were high all the time.
So never
What are
not
your thoughts
eating.
on this?
So I had no exposure to any of what that would mean. I just thought they were hungry. I just thought they liked to eat.
Just thought they were hungry boys.
I just thought the bit was like oral fixation or
Hmm.
something. But I love them being stoners because I revisited them after I had consumed marijuana for the first time.
Hmm.
It's very clear, it's very
You
funny.
what?
Um I don't be a dope. No, Katie, I'm so sorry. I've learned the lessons of
Good.
the wrongs of my ways. However, I cannot change my history, so it still will be relevant for my impression of this. I love the idea that Shaggy is high and just walking around with his dog. That sounds
Hmm.
great. People are off doing stuff,
Yes.
being productive, solving decades old, centuries old mysteries of buried
Yeah.
treasure. I'm gonna get high with my dog, and he's gonna
Very
eat most of my
valid.
food, and I'm so high that I'm not gonna notice.
It's very valid. In fact, at times I said, this is reminding me a little bit of us during COVID.
We can't be
Because
judged for that time.
while I hated them on this viewing,
Yes.
I did see myself in them slightly, just like walking around.
Yeah, bad time for me to get a med card.
Except for we
Um,
were just high on life.
yeah, and not a melted blob of edibles that had become one
Wait,
congealed
I have to
orb.
tell that story.
Okay,
I have to tell
I
that
didn't know if we
story.
were gonna say who's who, but I love this is my favorite thing that you did during COVID. I loved this. It was the only sense of excitement in my life.
I put my little bag of edibles in my bag, stayed in the car, and it has all melted into one blob. Like the entire tin of gummies
Mhm.
has melted into a single blob. I have no idea at this point where the weed has concentrated.
The ebbs and flows of
The ebbs
the
and
Giga
flows
Gummy.
of the THC. Like, I'm like, okay, if I bite here, I'm gonna see God. If I bite here, I'm gonna feel nothing. So every night, just about every night,
If we weren't drinking wine,
if we weren't drinking wine, sometimes if we were too,
sometimes a little bit of both.
I would play this little game that we penned as weed roulette, and I would take a bite and we would see what would
No,
happen.
I need to interject. Bite is such a strong word for what you did. It is a nibble.
A
It is a
nibble. We get a
the
literal
SpongeBob
nibble.
clip where like Squidward just like grabs the corner of the Krabby Patty
Mm-hmm.
is what we were doing. And
Yeah.
still we had the results of seeing God
Yeah.
or able to operate heavy
Uh-huh.
machinery.
Zoinks.
Zoinks.
So yeah, that was weed roulette.
That was my favorite because like I would be talking with you and some nights you'd be like, yeah, and the thing about existence is that it's just going to come back to what we believe and who we are. And other nights would be like, did you see the Trisha Paytas video?
So yeah, overall, I did see a lot of us in this pair.
Yeah.
But who is
Oh,
who?
okay. If you hate them both, then I have to be Shaggy because I like Shaggy.
Okay. I think that makes more sense because I think Shaggy is like
Scooby's not
really
consuming the weed either. Scooby's just stupid. Oh, wait.
okay, thank you.
That's not what I
But
meant,
I think
but
like in terms of our personalities when we were together getting high all the time or just on FaceTime getting high all the time, I think you would still be Shaggy. and I
Mhm.
would be Scooby because you would be like, yeah, I've been smoking for 10 hours straight and
Yeah.
I am just starting to feel high. And meanwhile, I would be one nibble in and I would be like, zoinks.
Yeah.
I would be like
Zoinks.
following behind you and just like you would get food and I would just go,
Yeah,
"Arr,
I would order for you a few times because you'd be like, I can't talk to anyone right now. I
arr."
can't. I can't talk to anyone.
So I think that is accurate. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But
anyway,
anyway, that's so funny. We should just book club like our adventure with
our
weed.
adventures. Okay,
Love.
my next
Oh
note.
yes. Give more.
My next note was, did you ever eat Scooby snacks?
Yes. Oh, the Teddy Grahams?
Yes, the
Yes.
cinnamon. I had like a vivid memory while I was watching this when he started eating the Scooby snacks. Like I totally forgot about those. They were so good. I packed them in my lunch a
Mm-hmm.
lot,
Mm-hmm.
actually.
They're still in stores, girl. I got them last year.
Really?
You can purchase them now.
Holy shit. Okay. Well,
And
check, check, check.
I don't know if they still have these, but the Scooby-Doo fruit snacks with the
Oh,
full
I
blue
loved those.
Scooby-Doo.
Those were so good. They were
Yeah.
better. Wait, no. The other thing was called Scooby snacks.
Yes.
Those were just
I just said the word. Why did I forget it? Fruit snacks.
fruit snacks.
Yeah.
Scooby fruit snacks.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, my next note.
Hmm.
Serious Q. Why do they keep letting Shaggy and Scooby on board? They seem horrible at their jobs.
Yes. Um, I would imagine like it's when you're at a party with your friend and they're a little too fucked up and they're being annoying and you were like, "Oh, this would be so much easier if you would leave." But unfortunately,
Okay,
you are inebriated and I need to keep you with me to
to keep
make
you
sure you're
safe.
safe. For example, if you or a loved one has been provided with a spiked drink at a gay bar in Los Angeles, it may be easier to want to leave them there as they pass out into a trash can,
Right, correct.
but
Yeah.
we bring them with.
You bring them with.
I think that's it. I also think it's like they're pals. They're true friends. And I think
Yeah,
part of it
okay.
may be like, we're not doing this without you. Although I would say if Scooby and Shaggy are that miserable, maybe they should find a new friend group.
Yeah.
But
But
do your thing. It's one of those ones
yeah.
where you gotta lean in. You gotta be like, I can't ask why they're here because they shouldn't be.
You
Typically
just
it
have to accept
is,
that they're gonna be
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Typically Scooby's nose does a little bit more. Like typically that's what he has to offer is like he can smell
Mm,
things. He doesn't do that a lot in this one, but typically he'll sniff stuff out. They
okay.
also do a great bit. They didn't do it in this one, but in most of the other ones, they even do it in the live action one where Scooby will dress up, like pull some costume out of his ass
Oh
to
yeah. I
distract.
remember that.
That is a great bit that I think really would have done numbers for them in this
Mm-hmm.
movie because that is always funny. That is
Yeah.
never not funny. The monster comes around the corner and they've built a hair salon in three
Mm-hmm.
seconds, and Scooby is in full drag glam, like ready to
Love
give
it.
this man a haircut.
I do remember Scooby and
Yeah,
Drag in the movie, so maybe I
yeah,
liked him more in the movie. I don't know. I can't remember. I still wish they would just maybe leave them at home, but
right.
you know, I get it. I get it. You want to bring your friends along. We all have a friend that's like bad at something, you know?
Yeah, and what's that shade?
No. Because once again, I wasn't thinking of anyone specific. I was just like,
Oh,
I feel like that's a general thing. Like you all have a friend who like really wants to do something, but they're like probably really bad at it. And I'm not thinking of anyone specific. And once again, I'm probably thinking of myself.
I was gonna make that joke. Fucking shit. Um,
So I'm good at beating you to the joke.
I'm good at handling substances. Which one is gonna get people farther? No, everyone has a quirk, and I feel like Shaggy's is that he's high.
Yeah.
Scooby's is that he's annoying. Velma's that she's smart. Fred is himbo, and as bimbos, I think we
Hmm.
can see a himbo.
Is he gay for sure?
He should be, but he's not.
Bisexual king, maybe,
He has to
perhaps.
be. I have to believe that. I have to hold on to
Okay.
that. I think
Okay.
that's all I have left in this world. Is
Okay.
bisexual himbo Fred. And
Okay,
then
fierce.
Daphne's bit is being hysterical. They kind of changed it. They did it a little bit with her where she like fucking like MMA flips a zombie out of the
Hmm.
thing. They have kind of overshot the landing into like, oh, Daphne can do everything. She's like a assassin badass. Like Sarah Michelle Gellar in the movies does the whole like wrestling thing because Daphne used to be much more damsel in distress, but
Hmm.
it was so fucking funny because it would be her walking around and being like, oh, I hope this button doesn't do anything. And then she presses it and like the floor flips out and she like falls down a slide. And they're like, Shh, Daphne got trapped again. Let's go find, they call her danger prone Daphne.
See,
And
I love that they're bringing, a little more substance to her. However, there's nothing I love more than a bimbo.
mhm,
And so when I see one, I really, really love it. And I know
yeah,
that, we're trying to make women have more substance,
sometimes they don't.
but sometimes they don't.
Yeah, there's someone very specific coming to my mind who, like, you meet and you're just like, oh, you're just a bimbo. Like, there is nothing bouncing around in that. Like, it is just two brain cells that occasionally will like collide and be like, move feet or
Yeah.
something. Like,
Do we both know this person?
yes,
Okay, I think I know exactly who it is.
no.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I think that they kind of have evolved Daphne, and I think they found a sweet spot where she like was capable, but also like still a little ditzy and
Yeah. I
like
like that. You got to keep a little ditz.
right, and like they would get like they would be like hanging off a bridge, and she would like open her purse and she would be like, "Well, if I pack the concealer around the dental floss, I can reinforce this as a rope and use it as a grappling hook." And it's like it's so fucking camp. Like
That's
that,
the kind of bimbo I love.
yeah. I love her.
Resourceful. A
Yeah.
resourceful bimbo. Next note, and I wrote it in all caps, so it must have
Yes.
been very important. Dream house, FYI.
Oh, yes, fully.
Like, perfect. I would
Yes.
love to just live in like a fun floral gothic mansion.
Hmm.
I don't
Built
know
from
if
a
that's in my
pirate ship?
future. Built from a pirate ship, even better.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really perfect. I just love florals. I'm very into vintage florals.
Okay, work.
And there was a lot of that happening in that house. And I really, really liked it. And I've really been into purple recently, and there was a lot of purple in that house as well.
Agreed. The what in Secret Passages? Beautiful. But like the painting and the style, like the animation of the movie and the backgrounds, I love so much.
Yeah, a lot of attention to detail.
Yeah, and so that one is in right the Bayou in Louisiana.
Hmm.
The second one, which is Ghost, is in like Nantucket, I think like New England, and then the third
Hmm.
one is in like the New Mexico desert. So they all have really cool backgrounds. They all have a
That's
lot
so
of
cool.
cool work that's done, but
Yeah.
this one is my favorite. It's so good. There's a fan cam of Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island that is so good. I have reposted on TikTok many times. I'll send it to you. Don't worry about it. Okay, I want to share my theories on the Confederates.
Oh, yeah, share.
And this goes into a game that has been played on perhaps unreleased versions of this. It's called Where Does the Antagonist Lose My Sympathy?
Okay,
And
yeah.
in this case, we're going to be talking about Simone the Cat Lady and
Okay, cool.
specifically where she loses my sympathy. The zombies themselves are explicitly referred to as Confederate soldiers.
Hmm.
They are not Union soldiers. However, when the tunnel opens to get to the cave, basically at the end, Lena says that it is a tunnel that was used to hide Union troops. So, what that says to me is during the Civil War, these werecats were hiding the Union soldiers and feasting on the
Mm.
Confederates. And that's not where she lost my sympathy. I think once like tourists started showing up, maybe that's when she loses it. But the dive and the critical thinking that I did about the role of Confederates in Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island is a anti-slavery one. That a pro-union stance.
Okay. I'm
This is
with you.
yeah,
I'm
this
I'm
is
right there with you. Okay.
all conjecture, but it sounds like they may have been, which if you're writing a kids movie, dear God, I hope they're on the side of the Union, but sometimes Twilight, that doesn't happen. So I was always like, we're not addressing the Confederates in the room.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I think that looking at it through that lens actually is really important.
Yeah,
And you can look into anything deeply. You
yeah.
really can. Even
Eh,
fucking Scooby-Doo.
yeah, if you told me that I had to sacrifice a Confederate every harvest moon to be immortal, you would be hard
Absolutely.
pressed to stop me.
Absolutely. 100%.
Um,
Um, yeah.
Beautiful. I think that's the final note I have, but give me the other things you have.
Well, actually, the last note I had, which leads me to my when did they lose my sympathy?
Uh-huh.
Once again, I didn't, it wasn't at the Confederates. I think it was right when I wrote, and I don't remember when this was, but right when I wrote, this bitch might be sneaky.
Was it the footprints when she was like she was dragged away and then there's the footprints in the dirt?
I think. I really don't remember. I just know that I wrote that down and then I locked in.
It gets fucking crazy. Like there's a whole thing with the fairy guy Jacques chasing them around and
Yeah.
he hasn't been there since the beginning like Lena and Simone have, but once they
Yeah.
invented boats, they not invented boats. Once they got a ferry, they were like
Once
we
they
need someone to
invented a
drive the
boat.
ferries. Yeah,
Yeah, for
goddamn.
sure. I love New Orleans so much. So I was very happy that it was set there. I don't really think the accents were on point, but that is a-okay.
I
They were not, but that is
they were
a-okay.
not in the ballpark of where the
No.
fucking Jacques, the boat guy.
Yeah.
Oh God, they just had like someone fill their mouth with marbles and start talking.
Yeah, so they were a little off base there, but other than that, I loved it. I thought it was fun. I thought I had a good time. I
Right.
once again think it's a great option for kids because it gets their brain working a little bit,
Hmm.
teaches them about the dangers of too much weed. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed 10 out of 10. It was
Beautiful.
really fun.
I have two wrap-up exercises for
Perfect.
us. Okay, first things first. I don't like this trend of giving live action adaptations to every animated movie that we
Yeah,
have ever seen.
absolutely.
However, I do love to play the game of who would I cast in this live action.
Who would play her?
What?
RuPaul says that all the
Oh
time.
my God. I haven't seen
If
an
you're
episode of Drag Race in my life.
If you literally talk about like your mother or like your brother, your sister, whatever, instead of asking like further questions,
Ah!
sometimes she'll say, "Who would play her?"
Who would play her?
But it's actually a great
I
question to ask
no, I love
because you
that.
get a good idea of who they are. Like if someone says like, "Oh, Mary Steenburgen would play her." Now you know exactly
Yeah.
who you're talking about, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Wait, now I'm thinking about who would
So,
play you if someone asked me that.
who would play her?
Who would play her? Who's the white girl Fatima?
Oh, Rachel Sennett. That's valid. I'll take it.
Yeah. I would energy wise, I see it encapsulated fully.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Who would play her?
I recently, this is going to be so self-serving, and I didn't even mean to take us down this road. I don't necessarily agree with this, but I
Okay.
did recently for the first time, and by that I mean like 3 days ago, see the film The Princess Bride for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
You seen The Princess Bride?
Vaguely.
Okay, the main guy in The Princess Bride at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning looks a shocking amount like me. Carrie he was
Okay.
also in Saw, a
Okay.
film I'm sure you're familiar with. Um, but I've been told by a few people that I look like him, and someone recently told me that, and I said, I don't believe you. And then I was staying with my friend, and he showed me The Princess Bride, and he said, "Oh, there's you." In the shot was both this actor and a cow, and I thought he was being a dick.
Oh,
But
you thought he
once,
was saying you were the cow.
yeah, but once we figured out what was going on, I was like, oh, I see it. I think assuming we have the same live action cast, who would we cast for any variations? I have very strong feelings on who would play Simone. She would not take the role, so I have two backups. I'm
Okay.
curious if you got anyone.
Yes, I do. And I'm having a hard time remembering her name, but I see her face. This is actually really embarrassing that I can't remember her name right now because I know who she is. Carol.
Kate Blanchett?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
work,
so I forgot her name. Like it literally just left my brain. So Kate Blanchett would be my
work,
Simone, I believe. I think she
slay.
could bring a really fun, fresh energy to it.
My Simone, who I know would not take the part, but boy, do I want her to, is Jessica Lange. I think,
Oh dear God, of course.
yeah, would
Yeah,
eat. If she does not
she would
take it,
eat.
I would be open to either, I just keep saying Sue Sylvester, Jane Lynch, or Catherine O'Hara. Either one of
Mm,
those I would
they
love to
would both be
see.
really good too. Yeah.
For Jacques, I would love to see them go find some random fucking ferry driver down in New Orleans with a
Yeah,
thick
I would
accent
want someone authentic.
and be like, you do this. The Angry Gardener though, Glenn Powell.
That's perfect.
Yeah, yeah,
No, that's actually perfect. That's exactly who I would say. I don't have any notes for that.
love it. And then for Lena, I don't know. I said if it is Jane Lynch, then fuck it, get Leah Michele in there to play her. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't like that. Fucking let's bring it back to Rachel Sennott. Fucking Fatima
Rachel
again.
Sennett. Yeah, I think she would be really fun.
I just
And
love
not just
whimsy.
because we said her, but I'm thinking that Io Adebri would be really good in that role. I think
Oh,
she would have like the little sneakiness, like super on lock.
I agree.
I know that that was sort of an association. It's like, Rachel Sennett
Yes.
to Io,
Bottoms.
but bottoms aside, I think Io would be so fun as Lena. Yeah, that's my
Sorry, I
pick.
just realized I didn't have to move out of the frame when you said bottoms aside. Some people grow, some people change, some people stay exactly the same bitch they
Some
were.
people stay exactly the same.
Love. Okay, final exercise. We know the catchphrases. We know rut-row, zoinks, jinkies, jeepers. Fred doesn't have
Mhm.
one, except for let's split up. All right, gang, let's split up. You are in this scenario.
Okay.
What is your catchphrase? What is your go-to? What is what you yell when you're shocked? Other than like mine would be like fucking shit. Like I can't.
Yeah. Auga.
Humana, humana,
Um,
humana. I love that bit. That bit is never not funny to me.
or
Um,
wowzers.
oh, Wowzers is good.
Wowzers. Yeah, a little bit
Wowzers.
of a wowzers moment.
Oh,
Um,
good.
Also, I know it's like not even my thing, but I say this generally, and it is a reference to Diary of a Wimpy Kid, I think, right?
Uh-huh.
Zooey
Zooey
Mama.
Mama. That's exactly where I went. I say that all the time. I've been saying gracious me a lot lately,
Okay, yeah.
or Golly Gee Willikers. I think either
Yeah.
one of those would
Golly
be
Gee Willikers is a good one
Golly
too.
Gee Willikers. I think that would be a good one.
Or good golly.
Yeah.
That mine would be something like that because I have to remember if I was a character in this, I would be like a little bimbo.
So true.
I would be like a little hoe, like a little whore. So I
Yeah.
think I would be like, "Oh, good golly," or something
That's
like
so
that.
fair. See,
Um, or I'd be like, "Gee whiz,
oh, that's
gee whiz."
oopsie. Yeah, God, that I'm not wearing any underwear. Like every time someone gets scared, you just
Yeah,
remind everyone. You're like,
yeah. I'd be like, "You better get away from me. I'm not wearing any underwear."
Jinkies, Jeepers, Zoinks, I'm not wearing any underwear. Fuck. That'd be funny. No, that's like my expression of shock right now is just any string of curse words
Yeah, same.
together. Like I'm a big fan of like shit titty fuck nut. I say that all the time. Yeah, I think that's a solid note to end it on. I've covered
I do
everything I want to
too.
cover here.
Gorgeous. Yeah, I went through all of my perfectly crafted, really, really intelligent notes that I did write
Ah,
down.
bitch seems shady.
No, it was this bitch might be
This
sneaky.
bitch might be sneaky is even better.
Title, that's gonna be the title of this episode.
This bitch might be
This bitch
sneaky.
might be sneaky.
Okay, I
Okay, well,
love
thank you
it.
guys so much for listening, and thank you so much for choosing this topic because I had a great time.
Of course, I'm excited to see what you pick for us next week. I'm excited to go on another
Yeah.
deep dive.
Hell yeah. Join us back next week. Why don't you guys go ahead and follow us on Insta on oh my God, excuse me.
Yeah, well, I'm Katie's currently incapacitated. We have a bimbo down. We've had a bimbo blowout.
Sorry, I left you for a second. I went to a whole other world. Um Follow us on Instagram. We would love to have you there
Yes,
at
Bimbo Book Club Pod. Bimbo Book Club
Pod
was already taken, so I had to.
at Bimbo Book Club Pod. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you back this time next week.
Bye.
Bye.